The Food Bowl is an incubator for New Zealand-based food and beverage companies. It's been set up to enable innovation and product development. It provides technologies for companies to undertake research and develop ideas. It also connects them with experts in product development, food science, packaging and export and regulatory requirements.
The Food Bowl is the Auckland hub of the Food Innovation Network. It's a semi-commercial, larger scale pilot plant. The Food Bowl is set up to help companies commercialise products. So we've got 7 different suites, different sizes, 4 large suites and 3 smaller ones, and over 200 pieces of equipment, and most of it's on wheels, so we can change it in between the different rooms, set up for the particular type of process that a company may need. In 2006, the then Labour government put together a task force to discover what the barriers were to exporting food and beverage products in New Zealand and getting more high-valued products made in New Zealand. And the task force identified a number of factors, and that was pretty low productivity, low-skilled workforce, and no access for smaller companies to the places where they could produce the products. So the Food Bowl and the Food Innovation Network was set up to help companies to reduce those barriers by getting access into equipment and suites where they could produce products to then sell directly to the supermarkets and also export. We work with a range of companies. So for the smaller startup companies that come in, they generally have a product that they're already selling maybe at a market and they need to upscale. So they would come to us with their product and their current recipe and formulation and development process, and we would then work with them to increase the scale of that so that it's large enough that they could supply supermarkets and potentially to export as well. So we help to identify the gaps that they have where that's stopping them from scaling up at the moment, and that could be a range of things. The equipment and access to the manufacturing space is generally only one of them. We would also look to connect them with our wider network of capability providers to help with other types of business development, be finance, marketing, IP, legal help. The clients tend to be self-selecting because there is a reasonably high compliance barrier to get over as well. So we need to make sure that each of the products that are made here before they are released to the public meet a really high and strict criteria in terms of compliance. When Samuel came to us, he was producing his product out of a different kitchen, but that was quite a small one, so that he was pretty constrained on how much he could produce. And so when he came to the Food Bowl, he was really, I think, in awe of the different types of machinery that we had here that could help him to produce his product more efficiently and then also be able to upscale as well.
It's called Paka Products Limited, so we make a ready-to-eat Bircher muesli product and we sell that into a bunch of cafes, gyms, into some schools and into Foodstuffs, Progressive and the Nosh Group, just in Auckland. I used to make a similar product to this when I was doing triathlons and so on, and I just sort of grab it as I head out the door to do some quick training. And then we shot overseas, my wife and I, and travelled around Europe for a bit, and I saw some sort of commercial versions of what I was already making, so I was like, oh, this could be quite cool. So I sort of developed it while we lived over in the UK for a bit, shot back to New Zealand, and we're getting married actually at the time, and I noticed out the corner of my eye as we're going in for a kiss and saw a kitchen that could be like a commercial opportunity for us. So we commercialised that kitchen, and then probably a month later we jumped in there and started making the product and getting it out to cafes and stuff. So we've got low-fat probiotic yogurt, then we pour in some whole grain jumbo oats, so those are the big juicy oats, and they give you that sort of low GI energy. We chuck in a whole bunch of fruit, so there's real fruit goes into it, and New Zealand honey. Coming out to the Food Bowl's been great, because I was basically in the church kitchen, and then I got called from Foodstuffs and got called from Nosh, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what the heck? I'm getting all these forms coming at me to like fill out for food safety and so on. And I'd heard about the Food Bowl at a presentation I'd been to. So I was like, oh great, I'll get out here, chat to them, see if this could sort out my capacity, and then all like the food safety around the whole thing. Came out here, got started, and instantly we just could clean up the whole process we're putting together, it made it much more efficient, streamlined. Working with the process engineers and so on, we've been able to bump the shelf life out and get more consistency out of the product. So just like every time it comes off the line, we know it's the same product that we always put out. The shelf life's been a huge one for us. When we started off with this product, we had just a week shelf life, and now we've been able to, working with these guys, bump it out to much longer than that. So that's a huge one, just because we're kind of contained to the Auckland market at the moment. We've got people screaming at us from Wellington and Christchurch and Tauranga, and I keep apologising to them because we just can't get it down there quickly enough, unless we put it on a plane, but obviously that means we're negative margins straight away. So that's a big one. And because we've achieved that lately, a good extension in the shelf life, we're going to actually be able to tackle the south of Auckland this year. And then we're working on a dry product at the moment that should be definitely throughout New Zealand, and we're hoping to export that as well. So yeah, it's keeping us busy.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.